Hello, my name is Gregory Smith. This video is one of a series of videos on features of Microsoft Dynamics SL 2015. This particular video is on the Quick Query module covering the user functions. There is a separate video on Quick Query covering the developer functions. The Quick Query module is a module that allows users to pull data from the Microsoft Dynamics SL database into a table format where it can be filtered and sorted in different ways. The records can also be exported to Excel. In Dynamics SL 2011, the records are simply copied into Excel. In Dynamics SL 2015, the ability was added to create data connections in the Excel spreadsheet that linked into the query, so they could be automatically updated each time the spreadsheet was opened. Let's go ahead and take a look at Microsoft Dynamics SL Quick Query from the user point of view. I'm going to log into the Quick Query screen here, and see it's broken up into the various modules. There's queries for each of the various modules. And we're going to go just into the general ledger and into accounts, which I can get to by clicking here, or by on the main screen clicking on the account queries for the general ledger, and this is pulling the information from the chart of accounts. And once you're in this screen, there's a variety of things you can do. For example, you can reorder the columns simply by dragging them to the left or to the right. You can delete columns. So I'm going to delete this account type by removing it. You can see one of the things it does do is it reorders it back to the original order. You can right click on a column and rename it. So I'm going to change description to account description. And I click OK. Now the column is changed. You can also go to Choose Columns, which brings you into this screen and allows you to choose field by fields. You can remove fields you no longer need or don't want on the query. And you click OK. And now the query is reduced to just the 3 fields that I was looking for. I'm going to go back in here again, and I'm going to add this node ID field back into the query. Now you can see that there is, in this first record, there is a note, and none of the other records have notes. And now I'm going to drill down here by right-clicking and go to the chart of account maintenance. And some of the queries are written so that they allow drill down into various screens within Dynamics SL. And so we could actually edit the chart of accounts or look at other information here in this field. Now I'm going to go down to account 1039 and drill down, and you can see it passes through whatever row you're actually on. You can see when I drill down to 1030, this choice of notes and attachments is available. This takes you into the record and shows you if there's any notes or file attachments. In 2011, they added the ability to attach files to records within the database. In the query, you can also change the sort order. If I click on account number, see it's sorting in numeric order. If I click on it, it'll reverse the sort. So it's descending or ascending. I can also go to a different column and click on it, and it'll sort, in this case, alphabetical order. Click on it again, descending alphabetical order. You can see you can easily and quickly change the sort order on the field. You can also go up here and you can filter on one of the fields in the query just on the fly. So for example, if I click account description and then I type in supplies, I will get just the rows that have a word supplies in the account description. I'm going to change it back to the account number, erase this, and again I have all my records here. Okay, now I got my query back sorted in the order that I wanted. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a filter you can do in addition to the on-fly filter. You can create more formal filters. I'm going to say account number active equals 1, and that's going to limit this particular query just to active accounts. Or I can change it to description contains supplies. And you can see you can string multiple filters together to get exactly what you want. I'm going to change it back so that I have just the active accounts. In the query, you can also select multiple rows or an individual row. Right-click, click Copy Rows. That puts it into your clipboard. And then you can open up virtually any application that'll accept a paste from the clipboard, such as Microsoft Word, and paste whatever rows that you had in your clipboard. In this case, I just picked one row and pasted it into Word. You can also paste into Excel, etc. Okay, once you get your query the way you want it, you have the option of saving it. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save here. And what it does is open up this screen, and it passes the regular view name, and you can make a change to it. And you can also apply some security here. You can say it's available to all users, or you can limit it to a group or an individual user. If I click on like an individual user, then I can select which user from the list to apply to. I'm just going to make this for all users. And now I'm going to go ahead and close this. And if you look on the menu, you can see it doesn't show up there, but if you click on Accounts and then click this down here, you'll see your query is now saved. I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to close Dynamics SL completely and reopen it. And what it's going to do is it's going to regenerate the menu at this point. You can see that's occurring on the lower left-hand screen, regenerating menu navigation bar. Once it completes that, I can go into Quick Query, Financial, Accounts, and you can see now the filtered account list is available right there on the menu. And then I'm going to go ahead and close this. Now, if I decided I wanted to delete that filtered list, you go actually up to the top level, scroll down to it, and then the delete button is available for you. Now I'm going to go back into my query here, and we're going to look at a couple of things in terms of exporting to Excel. If you click on this, you'll see Copy to Table. This is what was available in 2011. The other options are added in 2015. And what it does is it opens up the query and dumps it into Excel. Now, if you look at the Data tab in Excel, you will see that it is not linked into the database. It is simply copied into the cells in the database. So it's not interactive, etc. I'm going to just close this without saving it. Now, in 2015, they added this option to create a query table. And so I'm going to run it. And you have a choice here of all rows and all columns, or the ones that are actually in your filtered query, all the rows and all the selected columns. I'm going to show you both types. So I'm going to run all rows and all columns first of all. And you can see what I got was a spreadsheet with a table with all the records that are in that query. And now if you go to the Data tab here in the connections, you'll see it's actually created a data connection into the database. I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to close this without saving. And now I'm going to run the same thing, except I'm going to change it to filtered rows and selected columns. And now I get just what I show on my query. Again, if I go to data, I've got a connection set up. Here's the external data properties that you can set, and here's the connections and the properties. Now, one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to click refresh data when opening the file and click OK, and close this and file, save as. I'm going to put it on my desktop, and I'm going to name it query table, overwriting a file that I've already got there. And go ahead and close this. You can see in the query, the account description for 1030 is US dollars. So I'm going to go into the actual application, go into the chart of accounts in the general ledger, and open up and edit that account number and change the description slightly. So here's US dollars for account 1030. I'm going to make it just say cash. And I'm going to save it. And now I'm going to go open up that spreadsheet, even though Microsoft Dynamics isn't open, and you can see it's refreshed with the actual name. So you're going to have the latest data in the spreadsheet when it's opened up if you've got that flag checked in this Excel to refresh the data. I'm going to go ahead and save it here. And I'm going to go back into Microsoft Dynamics SL. And I'm going to go to the chart of accounts again. And I'm going to re-edit that account number back so that it says US dollars. And save the changes. Now I'm going to close Microsoft Dynamics completely, open up the query table. Again, it's been refreshed, so Microsoft Dynamics doesn't even need to be open for you to get the latest data from this spreadsheet. Now I'm going to close it, save again, and go back into Microsoft Dynamics SL. Back into Quick Query, Financial. I'm going to find my filtered accounts list. And now I'm going to do a different. I'm going to now export. I'm going to do filtered rows for a connection. Now this works a little differently. It's a connection only. It doesn't create the table. What it does is simply create a data connection in Excel. And then I'm going to go ahead and close this. Once that connection's been created, you can click this Get External Data. It'll see that connection. And then you can choose what type of data you want to pull in, where you want to pull it in, and there you go. So that would allow the user, without having to go into Dynamics SL and exporting, to just grab the connection and manipulate it the way they wish. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to do another query with a pivot table this time. So I'm going to go, chart of accounts isn't really conducive to doing that. So I'm going to go into the account summary and budgets. So here's my query. And I'm going to choose some columns here. I'm going to get rid of some things. I'm going to get rid of the account number and going to get rid of sub-account, sub-description, etc. I'm going to leave the account description in there. So I'm going to go ahead and remove. I'm going to keep the ledger ID, and you'll see why. And then I'm going to go in and grab 3 months worth of data here. It's project to date balance 10, 11, 12. This particular database only has data in period 10, 11, 12, and click OK. So now there's my query. I'm going to go to the pivot table, but then I decided, whoops, I got to filter this. So I'm going to go to the ledger ID, add a filter, saying ledger ID, I'm going to use begins with, and just a 0. And that's just going to give me just this ledger ID that is all zeros. Now I click on this, go to pivot table, select filtered rows, selected columns, and then it asks me to choose the pivot columns. So I'm going to want the account description, project or the period to date balances, and create. And there's my Excel spreadsheet linked into the data as a pivot table with balances of each of the months. And you can see over here is the pivot table. As you can see, QuickQuery is a powerful tool that allows users to retrieve data into a table type format and either export to Excel or to create query tables, connections, and pivot tables within Excel. Microsoft has developed over 100 queries specifically for quick queries. In addition, in the developer video, you can find out how you can create entirely custom SQL views and incorporate it into the quick query menu. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.